I rise today on behalf of all Nebraskans to say thank you to our nation's veterans. Our nation has long been blessed with men and women with integrity who step forward and answer the call to serve. Throughout times of war and times of peace, our country has maintained a military that's been the envy of the world. Each year, Veterans Day is a time to thank and to honor the generations of patriots who have risked life and limb to protect our nation and defend the cause of freedom. These heroes leave their homes, their comfortable lives with loved ones, for months and years at a time to fight wars in foreign lands. From the windy beaches of Normandy to the snowy mountains of Korea and the blistering deserts of the Middle East, our veterans have served fearlessly around the globe. Meanwhile, others, including members of the National Guard, have been stationed throughout the United States, serving dutifully to protect the homeland. As a member of the Armed Services Committee, I have the unique privilege of interacting directly with our service members. I've had the opportunity to meet soldiers, including many Nebraskans, working to protect the hard-fought gains in Afghanistan. And I have visited with troops stationed in Germany, Italy, and other allied nations. This past July, I had the opportunity of a lifetime, celebrating Independence Day with our troops in Afghanistan. I expressed my gratitude for their work, and I assured them of my support in the Senate for that work. While I am committed to ensuring our active duty service members have the training and the tools that they need to fulfill their missions, I am equally committed to keeping the faith with our nation's veterans. Each time I speak with one of Nebraska's many wonderful veterans, I am reminded of the honor and the valor that decorate all of our men and women who have served. And each one has a unique and a very memorable story to tell. Recently, I was humbled to take part in the inspiring journey of 130 Nebraska Korean War veterans to Washington, D.C. through the Honor Flight program. It was a privilege to help welcome them at the Korean War Memorial on the National Mall. All of our veterans deserve our appreciation, but it was especially important to me to acknowledge the heroic efforts of those men and women who fought in what's referred to as America's forgotten war. We are forever grateful to each and every American who has served, and we salute those who have paid the highest price. Another way to honor our fallen and missing service members is by showing our gratitude to those who are still with us today. As President Lincoln stated, "It is our great charge to care for him who shall have borne the battle and for his widow and his orphan." As a United States Senator, I am dedicated to promoting policies that assist America's veterans when they return home and to help ease that transition back into a normal life. Many need care for their physical injuries as well as their emotional scars. Despite possessing valuable skills, veterans also have difficulty finding employment after their return. We need to encourage businesses and organizations to utilize those talents that our veterans have and to help them find employment in our local communities. It is not just the values, but also the training and the discipline of our military personnel that make America's fighting force second to none. I'm pleased to report to Nebraskans that this year's National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, furthers the goal of helping service members better translate the skills they gain in the military to a civilian job. Specifically, it helps ensure that service members understand how their military skills effectively transfer to meet license or certification requirements for those civilian careers. It also requires the DoD to make available as much information as possible on the content of military training to the civilian credentialing agencies. Employers need to appreciate the vast array of skills and knowledge that our veterans acquire during their active duty service. My staff and I also stand ready to assist these men and women in navigating federal agencies to get that assistance that they may need. Many of our state's veterans have contacted my office with a range of important needs that are not being met, promises that yet need to be kept. These requests range from acquiring important service treatment records to securing benefits for veteran spouses and navigating the bureaucratic maze that plagues the Department of Veterans Affairs. We have a great track record in securing the needed assistance. This year's NDAA also urges the Secretary of Defense to expedite efforts to integrate electronic health records between DoD and the VA. While it's fully implemented, this should greatly shorten the time it takes for these service members to have their information transferred to the VA and start receiving the benefits that they are due. We can never fully repay our men and women in uniform for those contributions that they have made to our country, for their noble acts of service. But we can continue to do our best to honor their legacy. The peace we enjoy was hard-earned. We owe our way of life to their service and their sacrifice. We will never forget, and we are forever grateful. Thank you, Madam President. I yield the floor.